Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third-party knockoff review. Kubianbao is a company which is really getting a good reputation for itself. With them and the likes of Voyager, they've come from being a bootleg Transformer company to a genuine must for a lot of collectors. Do we still class them as knockoffs, or do we now put them in that third-party category? I really don't know. I really could not tell you. I personally call them a third party. This, on the other hand, though, is quite clearly a knockoff of Masterpiece MP10 Optimus Prime. It is their KBBMP10-V, which means it is a Voyager scale version of MP10. Looking at the front of the box, we've got some nice artwork there. Prime's head does look a little bit large in that picture, but we do have a very nice comic-esque look on the glass there. And of course, this does include alloy parts, but it's aimed at ages 6+. Now that's interesting. Side of the box, we've got this nice photograph of Prime, and on the back of the box, we've got a really nice transformation sequence going on. I like that. And then in this corner here, we've got what in this box is die-cast. We've got the chest, the waist, the hubcaps, the feet, the shins, the sword, the matrix, the gun. That's quite a bit there. And then we've got a complete layout of what we get included in this package. And let's not forget his energy device. We kicked around full of powerful energy. Boom. Right, here we have him out of the box. This is how he comes. He comes packaged in his truck mode. Now, for all intents and purposes, it does just look like a very itty-bitty tiny version of MP10. I mean, he's clearly a Voyager scale figure. He's approximately the same size as the Evasion Optimus Prime that we got from Hasbro and Takara. Now there are some differences that you'll notice. He's not really as detailed as the MP10. They have had to cut back on some sections just due to tolerances. For example, the window sections, the wing mirrors are now a fixed piece of plastic. I guess putting a hinge in there at that sort of size would be a recipe for disaster. The feet at the back here, they no longer slide. There is no sliding mechanism on the back of the feet to make them join together. The wheels don't roll drastically well. Some of the front ones do, and some of the back ones, it just doesn't seem to be... I mean, there's no spring in these anymore. There's no bump and give. The waist is a little bit twisty-turny, doesn't really peg in as well as it should. I seem to be listing off a lot of their bad features here, but it's really not bad. It does look the part and it feels fantastic. They've done such a great job of the build quality, but I mean, smokestacks, they no longer move up and down. It's little bits like that. They're bits I really liked about Prime, but then we get the detailing around the wheels. I mean, just look at that. That's pretty good going. The paint applications could be a little bit tidier there, but that's pretty nice nonetheless. And the chrome is fantastic. Really nice. I mean, I love it. It does really, really look nice. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't come with the itty-bitty tiny version of Spike, but we do get an array of accessories nonetheless. Start off with his Megatron gun. This is actually all, this bit on the end here may be plastic, but a majority of this is actually die-cast, which is nice. There's a nice bit of heft to it. It's just a good Megatron. Now, weapon-wise, he also comes with a sword as well. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think this is a copy of the Dr. Wu sword. I think, again, this is die-cast. It's a very nice sword indeed. He comes with his rifle. Still has the foldy feature. I think it fully works. Yes, it does, although there is no longer a spring involved. It is all manual labour. Not too keen on the little pins as well. It's been pinned in there, isn't it? Would have liked those to have been painted black, but we cannot win them all. we get his energon axe, which comes disassembled. There we go. Fairly nice rubbery plastic there, not overly sharp. These bits here are fairly sharp, but yes, it's been scaled down quite nicely. We get his jetpack, which again I think is a third-party product, or was it on Shapeways, something like that? You could get these for the MP10, so they've borrowed the design and used it for the Mini Prime. It's quite nice. Go quite nicely with Bumblebee, although Bumblebee's probably taller now. Got these ball-jointed thrusters on the bottom here, cast in a clear plastic. It's quite nice. And then we get the heads. These are the DACA heads, I believe, which actually have an amazing resemblance to the animation. I think they are probably the most animation accurate Prime heads about. They're very nicely done. We get this one, and we get this one done in the DACA style. This one's got the raised faceplate. He looks rather peeved in this one. They're actually pretty darn nice. And then, of course, we actually get this one, which is an Orion Pax head, which is a nice touch. Yeah, it's different, something different, isn't it? Don't know where they've got the design for this one from. Maybe it's unique, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section below if this is actually based on another design. Now, unfortunately, scale-wise, I don't have a great deal to compare them to because a lot of my stuff is still in transit and in storage. My actual storage facility was built and collapsed. That's what you get when you get your family to do things for you. Don't rely on your family, just pay somebody to do it. He, in truck mode, is approximately 2.5 inches. That's about just over 6 centimeters tall, and approximately 6 inches, that's about 15 centimeters in length. And for those of you that are looking for a compatible trailer, he is about 7 centimeters in width. That's nearly 3 inches, and he does have the same connector that the NP10 has as well, just those 2 prongs to attach to the trailer. Now let's get him all transformed up. The transformation is pretty much identical to what you get with the MP10, but if this is your first time experiencing this mold, let's take a look at the transformation. Your first port of action is to just get your finger under this section here and pop this section out. Now something I do like about this is this actually works in unison. It's all one piece. On the proper MP10, you actually have to bend this section individually and this section individually, which I kind of think this works a little better in my opinion. Lift these sections down like so, and that actually now allows us to free up the arm sections. They can be brought out to the side on both sides like so. Just slide that out, and that frees up the arms. They can just come round out of the way. Come to the chest cavity, just pry that open on both sides. Really nice hinges there. Actually, everything lines up remarkably well on this piece. Pop up the head section. That is the scaled down MP10 sculpt. It's very nice, but I do think that the scaled down DACA sculpt is actually just a little bit more accurate. Now, apply pressure to the grill section, and that just pops up this section here. That's going to slide upwards and inwards, and there we see the matrix of leadership, and we can now apply the pressure to this section, pulling that bit down onto the chest section here. You want to just untab this section from here just by pulling that up, and this is according to the instructions called stretching. Basically it's tabbed in to this silver section. You want to make sure that just comes undone. Extend this section out, and these sections here, these basically need to rotate around. You've got enough clearance here just to spin those around. So they're now at the back, and that allows this section to come into the chest, and then this section can now come down and fold down, and that's going to tab in and secure on this peg here. There's a tab just on the back there. Bring that all the way up and apply pressure just to this section here, and that's going to tab in just behind the rib cage, securing all of this chest section into place, and then we can close off both of the chest plates. This is remarkably well lined up. Fold down the ladder sections on both arms, pull down the tab section underneath the forearm, which allows us to rotate and spin the hand, then bring that back up and just tab that in, he says, tab that in, securing it into place. And there we have the hands. The pin appears to be a little bit better on the MP10-V than it does on the official release. The finger is not going anywhere at all. Rotate the waist all the way around. This is now going to be the front. Untab the fuel tanks. Let's bring out these sections up and around the legs. So up, over and around like so. Come open the legs. Bring these sections out from under the legs, up and over to the front. Again on this side, bring it up, over, out and in to the front of the legs. You now need to extend these legs. Now, unlike the MP10, there is no button to release the legs. They're just held in by friction, so you do have to just apply pressure and pull them out, and just make sure the kneecaps are fully exposed, and just rock these gas tanks up and over into this slot on the side of the leg. Come down to the feet. You want to extend the toe and extend the heel on both sides. So extend the heel and extend the toe outwards. The final touches, just come around to the backpack panel here and just flood those over to the side. And that is basically it. We have a very, very nice MP10-V, a Voyager scale Optimus Prime. Now, height-wise, Optimus Prime does now stand just about 7.5 inches tall, and from shoulder to shoulder, he's about 5 inches in width. So he is a very nice size. Now, he's not without his faults. Mr. John Granger mentioned in his video review for this, there is a screw in the back of the head, much like there is with the MP10. But the screw does not sit correctly in the lip, which means basically when you try and tilt Prime's head back, you have to use the chest tilt as opposed to the actual head tilt, because it does not tilt on that axis here. The screw gets in the way and it stops us from tilting Prime's head back. I mean, it's just as well that we have that neck tilting ability, otherwise we would lose a lot of the range of motion on Prime's head. Now, the MP10 weapons, they fit perfectly, but things like the sword, which is clearly not designed originally for this Prime, it's a little bit lackluster and it's a bit wibbly wobbly and it will fall out of there. It's not designed to be gripped by this Prime. I'm actually having the same problem with the Ion Blaster, or his Ion Cannon. What is it? Ion Cannon? No, it's been a long time. Firstly, I think it's a little bit too small. I think it does look a bit too small for Prime, and they've got rid of the actual indentations in the Masterpiece hands, which allowed them to grip the weapons correctly. His gun has been shrunken down, and it's exact replica, minus the spring mechanism, and I've got it stuck in the... There we go. But it still has the pegs on the handle, and now they're actually a hindrance because these hands do not have peg holes. They're just open palms. There's nothing in there to hold him. So it is like, what do I hold? Now the backpack, the installation is rather nice. We have a peg hole here and a peg hole there where the screws are in, and you basically just bring in the backpack section. That's going to come in and slide over those, and that's going to secure on the back. That's pretty nice. I like that. That went on nice and easy. We do have a little bit of a gap at the top of the shoulders there. I don't really know how we can avoid that, but that looks nice on the side, and that's a really nice nod to the cartoon. Now let's talk about that posability. We basically touched on it when we talked about the head going up and down, but having that lack of range on the actual neck joint itself. Now the rest of the articulation is pretty good. The shoulders can move up and down. They're on friction joint. They go butterfly in and out. We have a friction joint on the elbow, again going up and down. We do have that extension in and out as well. The hands do rotate fully and bend at the finger, and there's a separate finger joint for the pointing finger. The waist can rotate quite nicely there. No abdominal crunch though. Now, the advertising video for this, it was leaked on Facebook a little while ago. Oh, look how amazing our joints are. We can wiggle him and he will not move. That, unfortunately, is not the case for all of them. They do bend. The joints are quite good, but not amazing. I mean, the weight of the legs does play greatly into this. I mean, I can lift his leg up, but gravity wants to bring it back down. It's just the sheer weight. It's just too heavy. It just flops around there. I think it's just how it's been made. There's a small gap up here when I pull this leg up and down. I think the crotch section there does need to be tightened. And considering we do have a lot of head options to change over, I thought they would have included a screwdriver. A lot of the companies now do include screwdrivers. Unfortunately, they did not. Now this leg is not as bad. That's pretty good. This leg here is a little bit wibbly wobbly, but we do have a ratchet in there. We do have a nice friction joint coming out. I mean, that is pretty good. You do have rotation there. We do have a bend at the knee at approximately, it's just shy of 90 degrees, so it's not horrendous. And we do have up and down motion, and we do have pivoting on the ankles, so we can get him in some pretty nice poses. He does hold a pose quite well. It's just a matter of tightening up some of those joints and a little bit of fine tuning. Now I know they have done this as a mass release product and they are getting pretty darn good. But like I said, it's the fine tuning. It's just the little bits that make all of the difference. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so there we have it. This is the MP10-V. Let's summarize. The joints are okay. They do need a little bit of fine tuning, but the sculpt and the overall presentation is remarkably nice. I'm not too keen on the silver across the foot, but I like the way they've used the solid mirrors. There's going to be no damage there. I like how the two sections that fold out of the chest fold in quite nicely. We do still have the matrix of leadership. It does still open up. Look at that. That's a nice little touch there. But it does feel a little bit fragile. I wouldn't like to mess around with that too much. I could see that getting damaged if you are not careful. Prime himself is a very nice figure. The overall finish on the paint is nice. He feels solid. If you have a figure like Hegemon, for example, he would be fantastic coupled up alongside him. I like the fact you've got different options for the heads. To change the heads out, you basically just have to remove the screw on Prime and then replace the head over the said joint. It's pretty simple, but they didn't supply me with a screwdriver, so I can't show you. Once again, I do apologize for not having a great deal of comparisons with my latest videos. It's basically because a majority of my collection is still in transit and I don't actually have a studio. I'm doing a makeshift studio on my mother's table at the moment. Yes, times are that tough. Prime is good. He is good, but again, he's not without his fault. It depends what you want from your Prime. If you want a masterpiece Prime to go with your Voyager collection, if you want somebody that's going to face off against your Hegemons, then yes, this is probably the perfect Prime for you. It's miles, leaps and bounds more accurate than anything we've got in the Classics line, so it may look a little bit out of place because he's that accurate. But that's entirely up to yourselves whether you choose to display him or not. I personally got him because I'm a huge fan of Prime. I may have a slightly unhealthy addiction to Optimus Prime and I may be getting far too many for my collection to hold. But hey, what are you going to do if all these companies release Optimus Prime? Actually, I've had enough of Optimus Prime. Stop releasing Primes, everybody. Thank you very much to the guys over at TF Direct for making this video possible. You can order yours by clicking the link in the description below. Now these have sold out pretty quickly. I think they may still have some in stock though. Thank you everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. If you found this video useful, give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to share it amongst your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to check out more of my awesome reviews. Until next time, from myself and the KBBMP10-V, thanks for watching, goodbye.